Hello class, you've almost made it to the end of the semester. Instead of having a final exam, we're going to have you submit a leadership paper. Okay, so you have a final paper due the week of finals instead of taking an exam. And I've added here on this first page of the Blackboard page for this class a tab called Leadership Paper. And when you click on that, it'll bring up some really good informative information. First of all, the paper, I want you to write it using the APA format. So hopefully most of you have used APA by this point, but if you haven't, I'm going to show you some really great information, some links to the VU library, and even a PowerPoint that'll help walk you through how to make sure you're using proper APA citations and references, as well as how to format your paper. So for this paper, you're going to need to use Times New Roman 12 point, and your paper should be double-spaced typed 4 to 8 pages. Okay, the page count does not include the title page or the reference page. And you've got to use 3 to 5 sources. Now your textbook will be used as one of your sources. So let's take a look first at this link. It takes you over to the VU library and it gives you lots of good information on APA. So again, talks about the font. You're going to use the Times New Roman 12. Shows you how to set that up, how to get your title page, how to even set up page numbers. Then if you click here on in-text citations, it gives you some examples and information on how to complete properly cite your sources. And then reference page gives you good information on how to set up that reference page and to document your various sources. So hopefully that's very helpful. If that's not enough information, you want a little more, you just click here on this PowerPoint. It'll download, and once it's downloaded, you can open it. And it's really great because it has lots of information here on APA, probably more than you ever wanted to know, but we'll just walk on down, and again, it's showing you how to set up your font. It shows you how to set up the title page, the page numbers, your title, the header, and then it just walks you through all those different steps you need to take. Then it talks about your reference page, okay, and how you're going to list the various types of references. Gives you lots of good examples. And then in-text citations gives you lots of examples on how to complete those in-text citations. And then if that's not enough information for you, they have a page here on additional resources where you can go here to the Purdue Online Writing Lab, AL, which is a great resource, one VU citation, and database citation tools. So to make sure that you got not only the correct formatting, but also know how to properly cite using the APA method here. So I think you'll be all set, but if you have questions, you know how to reach me, and you can always ask me as well. Now, the next thing that I want you to do is not only review this before our next class, which is on Thursday, but also I want you to begin working on your outline. So the outline for the paper is going to be due on Tuesday, the 24th at 11:59 p.m. And you're going to submit that to me on Blackboard. That'll allow me to give you some good feedback before your final paper being due on the Thursday of finals week, which is December 10th at 11:59 p.m. And again, you'll be submitting that here on Blackboard as well. So let's click and see what you need to do to complete this outline. So when you have your outline, what'll be helpful is either to print this out or to open this up and then go ahead and open a new blank document. And I'm just going to make my blank document a little shorter. So, okay. First of all, I've given you some ideas here of how I want you to begin. You got your introduction, which should be, and I even give you how many paragraphs, okay? What's important to know about your introduction is this is a place where you provide a brief bio of your leader, how they became a leader, and then you end it with your thesis statement, which is what your leader's vision is. Now, if many of you chose political leaders, so if they're the president of a country, it might be what their main goals were for their presidency. You come up with that. If it's a company, if it's the leader of a company, it may be the actual company's vision. You decide what you think their vision was, and you state it here. That is your thesis statement. And that's going to be important because the rest of your paper will come back to that thesis statement. You'll be analyzing the leader with these different leadership tools to see how well they actually were able to carry out and accomplish their vision. And then the next step will be the leadership traits. So what traits do they have? Define those traits. Give examples of how the leaders used these traits to accomplish their vision. Then you're going to choose a leadership approach. So you just have to choose one. Do you think they use the contingency approach, the situational, their path goal? And then within that approach, were they more task-oriented or relationship-oriented? If you think they use both, give examples of both. In situational, were they great at delegating? Were they more team-oriented and participating, selling, or telling? You decide and then give examples on which one or ones you think that they had. And in path goal, the same thing. Were they more supportive, directive, or participative, or achievement-oriented? If you think one was dominant, choose that one and give examples. And then the type of power. Did they have legitimate power? If they're a president, you might talk about whether they received both the electoral majority as well as the popular vote. If they're the CEO, you may talk about whether they came from the outside or whether they were promoted from inside. Do they have reward power? Did they give out a lot of rewards and acknowledgments in order to get people to do what they wanted? Or did they use coercive power? Did they try to manipulate other people into doing what they needed done? Referent power. Were they kind of a celebrity status and were able to use their influence to get people to follow them? You decide at least one of these powers, okay? And then give examples for each power that you selected, but you have to select at least one. And then followers. You got to identify who the leader's followers are. If it's a president, is it their cabinet? Is it their fellow party members? Is it the American people? You decide who their followers are, and then talk about what type of follower were they? Were they alienated? Were they conformist? Were they pragmatic? Were they effective? And how well did they carry out the leader's vision? And what about any blind spots or shortcomings? Identify those that your leader might have. Maybe they didn't realize what was going on in another country or within their own party. Or if this is a leader of a company, maybe they didn't know about a competitor and what they were up to. List what those are and then how that affected them in reaching their vision. And then to conclude, you're going to restate that vision that you've already stated from way up here in the beginning of the introduction. So restate that vision. That's your thesis. Restate it again. And then explain, how effective do you think the leader was in carrying out their vision? Were they pretty good? Did they get it all the way, home run? Or did they have some bumps in the road? Did they have to change course? This is where you get to sum that all up right there. So when you do this, what I really want you to do is open up that Word document and use this exact format, but you're going to flesh it out. You're going to provide more detail. So number 1 is going to be introduction. And then A is, as you can see, I can't type, so spell check that. A is a biography, so I might talk about birthplace, and I can be as specific or I can do more of outline, schooling. If they're a political leader, maybe they were a senator first and then the president. And like I said, you can write this in complete sentences if you want or in a paragraph form, that's fine. But just address all of these things. And then here's the vision. This is where you lay it out. What was your lady wanting to accomplish? You know, if it's a company, maybe they wanted to increase sale of their product, whatever that was, product X. Maybe they went international. If it was a political leader, maybe their vision was to better the U.S. economy through, and maybe they have a certain economic policy like FDR had the New Deal, or Ronald Reagan had trickle-down theory, or whatever their ideas were. Through your research, you'll figure out what you think their vision was and put it there. And then you're going to select under Roman numeral 2 the traits. What were the traits that your leader had? Define those traits and give examples. And you're just going to go through each one of these and flesh it out. And that'll give you a great start on your paper. Allow me to give you some good feedback and answer any questions you might have. Okay, so I'll see you all on Thursday for our virtual class. And please start working on this outline. Put together your questions and concerns. Watch this video. And we will have a great answer question session on this paper and the rest of the semester. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you on Thursday.